What's up, guys? Hope you're all doing well, and thank you so much for popping in to my review for episode 5 of The Acolyte. Thank you guys so much for watching the previous videos that I've done on the show so far. And look, this show is just like a downward spiral. I feel like I'm in a whirlpool that just keeps sinking me lower and lower. This week is no different than that. This week sinks us to an all new low. For the people that like this show, this video is not going to be for you. For fans of this show, I respect you, but I am not one of you. So if you want to listen to another opinion of someone that didn't like this, feel free to do so. But look, I just want to be honest. This is probably the worst thing Star Wars has ever done. Um, and I'm not talking about the holiday special. That's on its own level. It's completely different. This is probably the worst thing I've seen, other than the holiday special from Star Wars. The writing in this show is so despicable. I mean, it's so bad. The characters do things that make zero sense, and the dialogue is trash. Now, let's just mention real quick Ki-Adi-Mundi. You know, the guy with the big cone head, if you don't know the name. He's in the Phantom Menace, and he's got like one line in the Phantom Menace, and he says, "The Sith have been extinct for a millennia." Okay. He's in one of the previous episodes in their little council saying that, they're going to intercept May and get the Dark Force user. They don't call him a Sith in that episode, so a lot of people still defend it. Hey, maybe he's not a Sith. Doesn't have to be a Sith. Well, guess what? He comes out. It's not the witch. It's not the witch mother. So I was happy about that. But it was still predictable. I mean, they went in the most predictable route. Either it was the witch, which was going to make me really angry, or it was going to be Quimmer or Chimere or whatever his name is, and that was just really predictable. So he's like, you know, I don't really have a name, but I guess, Jedi like yourself would call me Sith. Okay, so everybody who said, maybe he's not a Sith, he just blatantly said, no, no, I'm calling myself Sith. Okay, so now Soul's going to go back with May disguised as Osha. Why did she do that? I have no idea. To infiltrate the Jedi, I really don't know. Even though in the previous episode, the reason why Quimere got upset at her for betraying her is because she said, I'm gonna submit myself to the Jedi. And yeah, my allegiance is my sister, and I'm gonna submit myself to the Jedi. I killed all those people, but hey, maybe they won't arrest me. That's all ridiculous. But we get Osha now at the end of the episode. She's still unconscious with Mr. Sith, who I believe would sense that this is not May, that it is Osha, but Soul doesn't sense that it's May and not Osha. It doesn't make any sense. When Soul wakes up, you think he would realize, hey, this is May. This is not Osha. I feel different. Because when the Sith was before, oh, you recognize me? He says, oh, I sense something familiar. Well, do you sense something familiar here? What do you sense? If he does know that it's not Osha and it is May in disguise, if he does know that, then why the hell would he just lead her back to the ship? Why would he do that? Why would you give her a ship? Why would you take her to a ship? And she could fly anywhere to the Jedi. I don't know. Even though she wanted to, you know, submit herself to the Jedi. It doesn't make sense. So when he gets to the ship, what's he going to do? Is he going to report back to the council, his little mini council? Not the high council. I guess this is the low council with that Venestra, who's kind of dumber than a box of rocks. Is he going to say, hey, I've discovered a virgins, as Qui-Gon said. They weren't even 100% Darth Maul was a Sith. But the Jedi Council was like, we're going to investigate this mysterious figure. Here we got the low council. who, is Saul going to go ahead and say, hey, Venestra, tell that little council that this guy just said he was a Sith. Ki-Adi-Mundi's involved in this. Is he just not going to gain wind of it? I mean, every Jedi that went on that mission is toast. They're all dead except for Saul. He was the only Jedi that survived. You have Osha and May. May wasn't there, but Osha survived. And the tracker droid, or not the droid, but the tracker weasel Basil, whatever, he survived. Everybody else is toast. So is this just something we're just going to sweep under the rug and we're not going to tell the rest of the Jedi? I mean, none of these people have friends with a higher Jedi Council, and nobody's going to go and tell them? I mean, by this time to that time, Ki-Adi-Mundi gets involved, and he will become part of the Jedi Council in the Phantom Menace. So when you're saying the Sith have been extinct for millennia, and you got this guy calling himself a Sith, it doesn't make sense. And you want to know what you could have done to make things completely different? You didn't have to worry about that single line from the Phantom Menace to screw your show and to screw with the lore, what you're doing here. They could have, instead of Ki-Adi-Mundi, who I guess in history is not even supposed to be alive at that point, they changed that. Why? Why even tamper with that? You have 1,000, 100 millions of characters you could use, new characters, in that little council. Why did it have to be Ki-Adi-Mundi? Why? It doesn't make any sense. Just to ruffle feathers? I mean, why did you pick him? Out of all the people you could have picked, you pick him? The one guy with that line? I mean, it is abysmal. This show is bad. And by the end of it, the sisters swapped places. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe what does she want to do now? Go infiltrate the Jedi? When she was gonna, give herself up to Kelnaka? No idea. There's just a bunch of other lines in the show that are in this episode that I can't even think of off the top of my head, but made me angry. Characters that you liked. I mean, Jackie gets toast killed. 3-hole punch. I mean, in Disney Star Wars, you get stabbed with a lightsaber, you'll survive. So maybe they were like, we gotta stab her 3 times just so they know she's dead. It's so bad. It's so bad. I mean, the action was good. The lightsaber fight was good. But I'm not just some idiot sitting there like, oh, this is look at the lightsaber fights. No, I'm there for the story. It looks good, but I want to be invested into why these people are fighting. It's a good fight, but there's no damn substance to it. The writing of the whole this is just a abomination of a show, and it continues to get worse, even though you got the most exciting episode because of the cool lightsaber fighting. There's no substance to it whatsoever. It's like if you polish a turd, it's still a turd. And that's my quote for this episode. I mean, the pacing of it as well, like when you've got the first bit where there's lightsaber fighting, and then they'll cut to people walking in the forest, and they'll cut back to lightsaber fighting, and then they'll cut back to a quiet bit. Like the pacing was just off. And even the beginning of the episode when May wants, like at the end of the last one, we're assuming she wanted to give herself up to Kelnaka, realizes Kelnaka's dead. Okay, what's the first thing that happens when you see a Jedi? No, she changes her tune completely. Jackie tries to cuff her, and instead of saying, "Hey, go ahead, cuff me. I'm going to give myself up to you. I know this Sith guy, and my allegiance is with my sister." No, she decides to do a fight to the death and stick a knife almost down her throat. So the whole thing, it's just nonsense. It's ridiculous, and I'm just along for the ride at this point. We'll see how deeper this whirlpool goes next week. Well, maybe we'll reach the bottom of the ocean by the time the show ends. But that's where we're at with this, guys. Comment down below. Did you like this? And if you did, and if you stuck around and liked this, I respect you. I do. And I guess it's all open to conversation. I mean, it's all subjective. So if it worked for you, and you're invested into the story, which I just can't see anybody getting invested into because the writing is just so terrible, it is what it is. So leave that down below. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We got a bunch of reviews up on the channel, newer reviews for some newer films. Trigger Warning, Jessica Alba film. John Krasinski's If. I got a review for Inside Out 2 up on the channel now. We've got reviews coming in the future. We got another Netflix film, A Family Affair, starring Zac Efron, Nicole Kidman. That's on its way. A Violent Nature, which was that horror film that was released that's coming to digital streaming. I'm excited to see that. A couple other things on the horizon as well. And guys, you can follow me on Twitter and or X at RyanKing72 and Instagram or TikTok at KingOfRises131. That's been it for me. Thank you so much for watching my review for episode 5 of The Acolyte. And until next time, over and out.